college sweethearts decide to get married, but then an unexpected event changes everything. We all have seen how weddings are, right? The house filled with our families and relatives, which we haven't seen for years. Children running all over the house, the decorations and whatnot. Most people who get married know that at worst, the only things that could go wrong are family arguments or maybe some decorations or food problems. She was prepared for all these things, but nobody prepared her for this unfortunate turn of events. Jessica Padgett, who had been in love with her man of her dreams, firefighter Kendall Murphy, both decided to take the next step in their beautiful relationship. One fine day, Kendall went down on his knee, looking into Jessica's eyes as he proposed to her. She still relives that beautiful moment that made their bond stronger than before. Excited, they informed their parents and friends about their decision. It was time for some wedding preparation. Jessica Padgett found the man of her dreams while she was in college, and she knew that he was the one with who she wants to spend the rest of her life with. Jessica and Kendall lived and worked in Indiana, where Jessica worked in a nursing home and Kendall was a firefighter. They both were into American football and loved watching it, and both followed their local college team, the University of Notre Dame. Lucky are those people who are able to find love at an early stage in their lives and build their relationship after surviving every up and down of the relationships. Also, if you have not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell to get inspired by these real-life stories every day. Now, back to the story. Jessica and Kendall shared their parts of bad and good things that every relationship goes through. But they never left each other's side and stayed stronger. The college brought them together, and by the time they finished college, they decided to take the next step in life. Jessica always thought about how life works in mysterious ways. Kendall, who used to live just 7 miles away from Jessica, met her when they went to college. Jessica was deeply in love with him, and she said Kendall was an amazing guy who would just lend his shirt to anyone in need. His helping nature led him to the fire department. Risking his life to save others gave his life a purpose, and he was happy. They both were ready and started the preparation, but who could have thought that destiny had some other plans for them? Obviously, Jessica was excited. Like, who wouldn't? She was taking a very bold step in her life, and she wanted everything to be perfect and on point. She decided to do everything on her own, from decorations to catering and to her wedding dress to everything she could think of. Kendall was very supportive and loved seeing Jessica this happy and lively. He would see this happy and beautiful face every morning. For him, this was the best thing and nothing else mattered. But what exactly happened that day that took away all his happiness? We don't know why it happens that whenever we think of doing something important, somehow we end up being caught in the middle of unwanted situations, right? Jessica, who was busy with the preparations, started to feel the exhaustion, and when she tried to find Kendall in the middle of her busy schedule, she couldn't reach to him. There were days when they both went to bed without talking to each other. The couple understood each other and didn't give it much of a thought because something else was happening which was far greater than this: the marriage. Judging between their work and wedding preparations, the couple was trying their best to stay excited and energetic. We all know what a difficult task marriage is. They started searching for the place they wanted to get married, and they searched, and there were a few that they noted down. They lined up the DJ who would be playing on that day. Dresses were decided, and it was just the dinner menu which was taking longer than expected. But then Jessica, who was already tired, felt something. When things don't go the way we want, we start thinking, are they kind of signs that are telling us not to do it? Even Jessica, who was trying hard to make her wedding a perfect occasion, couldn't stop thinking, what if she was just rushing? There were times when she wanted something, but due to some reasons, she was not able to achieve it. She started to think, what if this was a wrong decision? And because of these negative thoughts, she decided to talk to Kendall. Kendall was at his work and Jessica wanted to meet him. She parked her car in front of the fire department where he used to work. Seeing Jessica like that, Kendall became very uneasy. Then she told him everything she was feeling. Kendall didn't get angry or anything and heard everything she had to say. He took her hands in his hands and told her to calm, and there are no signs or anything, but it's just her exhaustion speaking. He said that she should take some time off from the preparations and let him take care of the other things. That very moment, she realized how lucky she was to have Kendall in her life. As promised, Kendall started to take care of things that were making Jessica feel bad. He told her to concentrate on her wedding dress and told her that he would take care of the other things. While Jessica looked for her perfect wedding dress, Kendall did other things that were required on the big day. He realized how hard it was and was surprised to see how Jessica managed everything. He was proud and moreover in love with her. He was lucky to have Jessica in his life. They completed each other and were made for each other. Kendall was with Jessica when he got a call from his superior who wanted him at the scene. He had to leave and rush towards the scene. Jessica, who was sad that Kendall left when he promised her that from now he would be taking care of things. She didn't complain as it was his job to be there when duty calls. She was proud of her future husband who was so serious about what he does. But an hour later, she got a call. Jessica too left for her work when she realized that she won't be able to shop until Kendall was back from work. As we told you, she worked in a nursing home and the receptionist told her that there was a call for her from the fire department. She could feel that for a moment her heartbeat skipped. Her hands became numb, and before she could even respond to the phone call, her mind was filled with all sorts of bad thoughts about Kendall. She was wrong, or was she? She picked up the phone, and it was one of Kendall's colleagues who called her because Kendall asked him to convey a message. Kendall got stuck in his work and wanted to say sorry that he won't be able to make it and they need to postpone the shopping. Tears started rolling down her eyes, not because they had to postpone the wedding shopping, but because what all was going inside her head and how everything was fine. But not for long. Kendall, who was at the scene at an emergency, wasn't able to talk to Jessica because he had to rush as he was the closest to the scene. But he asked one of his colleagues to convey a message for him to Jessica, who might be expecting him in the evening. But you know, there are certain things that aren't in our hands. Life is a mystery. We cannot predict what could be coming next. Both Jessica and Kendall had no clue what was coming their way. Kendall, who asked one of his colleagues for a favor, was also his good friend who knew Jessica as well. He was more than happy to convey his message because he knew how hectic their schedule becomes when they reach the scene. Kendall was on his way to the scene and his friend was talking to Jessica, telling her about Kendall. The date was decided, and though it might seem that the marriage was in 10 months, there were lots of preparations that follows, and 10 months is just a very little time to be ready. When you decide on a date, you also need to think about other things available on that particular date. This was the reason Jessica was in such a rush. She knew she can't just procrastinate on things as it might lead to unavailability of other things, and she didn't want that. But then, she heard the news. While Kendall was busy at the scene at an emergency, Jessica was at home. Tired, she was resting on the couch when she heard the news that took everything away from her. Tears rolling from her eyes, she felt weak in her knees, and with a thud sound, she landed on the floor. What was the call about that made her this helpless and weak? Kendall was one of the first who reached the scene, and behind him was one of his colleague's fire trucks. But who could have thought that his colleague would be the reason behind Kendall's fatal injury? The driver of the truck was Colby Blake, who was under the influence. Kendall parked his car near the scene when Blake, who was completely lost, smashed the truck to other cars that ended up crashing Kendall's car. It happened so fast that Kendall didn't get a chance to move out of the car in time. Jessica, who was waiting for the day from where she would be spending the rest of her life with the man of her dreams, was left shattered after she got the news. Life became unbearable for her, as it was hard for her to continue without Kendall. They were about to get married in 10 months, but Jessica lost the love of her life in a very cruel way. And as her wedding date came nearer, she tried her best to get rid of her pain. She came up with a plan and hired a wedding photographer, and it was the same photographer who was to be hired on her wedding day. But why? What was her plan? Kendall left a huge family behind, as this was his young cousin who had never gotten the chance to meet his uncle, as he was born after the incident took place. Kendall wouldn't have imagined that he would face the unfortunate events twice on the same day, one after another. After the truck crashed into his car, there was another crash that was more destructive than the one before. Another person's mistake took away Kendall from Jessica, who was left devastated. Losing someone you love is never easy, and for Jessica, who was feeling every pain there was in the world, luckily, she wasn't alone, as the family was there to support her. She kept thinking about the situation. What if the driver was not reckless on that day, and then Kendall would have been there on their wedding day? Unfortunately, destiny had some other plans for both of them. They say time heals everything, but for Jessica, it seemed like time wasn't on her side. You just can't ask someone to stop grieving because that person has been grieving for so long. It's a process and simply takes as long as it takes, period. That special day was here, but sadly, there was one important person who was missing in the ceremony. The whole family was there, as it was an actual wedding. It was Jessica's mother who made the event possible. Jessica told her plan to get married on the same day she and Kendall decided, and was given a go by her mother, and that it was her who made it possible. The entire family was notified and was invited for the big day. The whole family was happy to see that Jessica was taking this big step. The place was filled with family members, children running all around, laughing and screaming. It was like an actual wedding, except Kendall wasn't there to receive the bride. It wasn't some random date that Jessica and Kendall came up with, but it was the same date when Kendall went down on his knees and proposed to Jessica. The date holds a special place in her heart. She wanted to keep the date and the moment in her heart forever. Jessica and her family were also planning a special ceremony for Kendall, and it was decided that the ceremony would take place on the wedding day. A photographer is one of the most important things at a wedding. Everybody wants to remember their special day for years to come. Jessica hired a photographer and was told to attend the event on September 29, 2018. The photographer was ready to shoot the most unusual and beautiful marriage. Jessica had to come up with a way to showcase her love for Kendall. Jessica was keen to show her love for Kendall, and to do that, she was ready to go with the plan. Sure, Kendall wasn't there, but he would always stay in her heart. Jessica looked for a perfect wedding dress, as she didn't want to leave any details, and the next moment she was wearing it, looking like an angel. The family was happy to see their daughter smiling after so long, but from the inside, she was weeping like a child. Both the families came together to celebrate the event and remember their lost star. And there she was in a beautiful wedding dress, and the photographer could see that there was no sign of grief. He even commented that she looked strong and invincible. The wedding photographer added that Jessica was carrying a weight of the universe, but presented the burden like wings. Kendall joined the local fire department in 2016, as he was impressed by his grandfather, who was also a firefighter. Including the family, even the department was sad by the loss of a young, handsome man who had so much life in front of him to see. While firefighters put their lives in danger in order to save other people, who could have thought that this time one firefighter would be the reason behind Kendall's death? The message that was delivered with this event on the day of the event was that family matters. The whole family was there to support Jessica when she needed them most, and was still there to remember the young hero they lost in the most unexpected way. There is no bond stronger than a family, and this family has proved that. On the day of her wedding, Kendall's family gifted her with cowboy boots filled with flowers. The boots belonged to Kendall and must have been really important, otherwise the family wouldn't have gifted it to them. And you see in the image that Jessica knew the importance of the shoes and wasn't able to control her emotions, and tears started rolling down her eyes the moment she touched the boots. The wedding party brought the family together once again. The family was able to remember that one link that they lost in the accident. Jessica had to stay brave for her and Kendall's family. She enjoyed every moment of the event. Jessica has always said that Kendall was a selfless man, and now it was his family who was there for Jessica. Jessica knew how busy the fire department gets and told them that it would be fine if they won't be attending the event, but was shocked to see the whole department at the event. Kendall's colleagues were waiting there for the event to get finished while the family members were lighting the lanterns in Kendall's remembrance. She tried the best to stay strong, and she knew that Kendall won't be coming back to her. But when she saw her father looking at his daughter in a wedding dress, she couldn't control her emotions. She was saddened by the fact that she won't be able to enjoy the father-daughter dance, as many fortunate brides get the chance to live their wedding day to the fullest. This was the day where Jessica and Kendall were supposed to say "I do" to each other. Instead, Jessica was there in front of Kendall's grave. She must have been thinking about how things could have been different if he was still there for her. Life isn't fair, and it's a fact. On one hand, where she needs to look forward in her life, she was left devastated and continuously thinking about the unfortunate past that shattered most of her dreams. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with someone who may find it interesting too. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next one.